It's hump day.
Hump day!
It's hump day.
Hump day!
All right, we are live. Welcome, everybody. This is Hump Day Hangouts number 135. We are getting creepy close to 150. That's pretty awesome. So we're marching on up there. Today is the 7th of June, and I'm going to go around real quick, say hi, everybody, and we'll get some announcements in, and then we'll get rolling. So, Bradley, you're to my right. So how's it going, man?
Good, man. Happy to be here. So we got some good questions, and Paul Facey was the winner of the hat a few weeks ago, and he's got an awesome post on the event page already wearing the hat.
Yeah.
Angry look. It's awesome. So
That's awesome.
It's awesome that you won that, Paul, and that you sent us a picture, man. We really appreciate that.
Definitely. Roman, what's up, man?
Oh, not much. Just keep it going.
Cool. Where are you located today? Are you in Tennessee?
Yep, Tennessee.
Awesome. So since Marco's not here, I'll ask you, how's the weather?
Today is really nice. It has been rainy all spring, like literally every single day. So we're just starting to get some sun.
Nice, nice. All right, Hernan, what's up down in the far, far south?
The far, far south is freezing right now. It's about to rain, but we're hanging out, and I'll probably be on the East Coast for a couple of weeks coming up shortly. So maybe next month. So if you guys are on Florida or the East Coast and you guys want to hook up, connect, grab a beer, grab a coffee, just let me know. I'll be around there, hopefully with warmer weather because I'm fucking freezing.
Nice.
Good.
All right, Chris, how you doing, man?
Doing good. Summertime here. Can't complain.
Yeah, what's the temperatures like there? Are you in Austria?
Yeah, I'm in Austria. Good question. Give me a second. I gotta calculate it.
You can do Celsius. We'll
around 30 degrees Celsius.
Okay, that's pretty nice.
It is.
Cool. All right, well, let's get the announcements going real quick. I want to say if Michael and Jenny are watching in Ithaca, hello. Also, if you're new to Semantic Mastery, be sure to check out the Syndication Academy. It's a really great place to get started besides Hump Day Hangouts. If you're here, you're in the right place. Syndication Academy is definitely the next place to start, as well as the battle plan. Great way to lay it out. And speaking of the battle plan, if you haven't grabbed that yet, we're going to have a quick webinar on Monday, and we'll be sending out an email so you can sign up. It's just going to be a free webinar. We've had a lot of questions about the battle plan, about some specifics, what's in it, what do I do, that type of a thing. So we're going to go over that. So we'll be sending out an email tomorrow, and you can hop into that on Monday or catch a replay and find out some more about that. And also, if you haven't yet, please go to SerpSpace. You can get a free account at SerpSpace.com. And that's where you can get your done-for-you services, and they're adding more tools to that. Like there's the, correct me if I'm wrong, Roman, but right now the free tool we have is the JSON LD schema markup, right?
Yep.
And then there's a couple more that we're working on. So, there's some cool stuff there for you. And like I said, signing up for an account to check stuff out is free. There's no cost. And then you can see if you want to grab some of those done-for-you services. And that, I believe, is it. Do you guys have any announcements?
No, I think we're good. Real quick, for those of you guys that join on Monday webinar for the battle plan, we're gonna be sharing some good stuff and telling you what's the battle plan is about. But we're also making an additional training webinar for the battle plan purchasers.
Yeah.
So if you guys wanna hop on in, you can still get it. I would suggest that you wait up until Monday because there will probably be some kind of deal or discount or whatever that is. But that's something that's coming too, and we're going to be setting up additional training with Bradley.
Yeah, Hernan and I are going to do and maybe the other guys too, an additional training webinar for any battle plan purchases where we're going to basically just go through the process and talk about it and expand on each one of the points, answer questions that people may have, as well as I'm doing a lot of testing with press releases right now, and I'm starting to see some really good results. And so that's something I'd like to expand upon a bit. And then I think after we're done with the webinar for the battle plan buyers, we'll probably end up going back through and editing the PDF to actually include timestamps to that section in the webinar, so that when people are reading through the PDF, they can just click and go directly to that one section of the webinar and see it where we expand upon. And so we're really going to make it a high value PDF more so than it is, just because it is so simple. And some people say, oh, it's too much, I can't believe I got this PDF that's so simple, because they want a whole bunch of crap, a whole bunch of fluff and bloat, put in there. So the semantic mastery way is not to fill it full of bullshit bloat. Instead, we're going to go ahead and add additional value to it to make it more, more of an actual plan that somebody would follow, instead of looking through it and going, oh, this is too simple, must not work. Whatever. If you want to overcomplicate shit, you can do it. But, we're going to go ahead and add additional value to it, so that maybe people will take action on it. So,
yeah. And also what I wanted to say real quick is that one of the benefits to join, to purchasing the battle plan right now or Monday or whatever that is that you will have access to that webinar live, and we'll have plenty of time for Q&A, right?
Yep.
Then it will become a recording. So, it's another perk.
Yep. Cool. All right. So I can get into questions now.
Let's do it.
Oh, one last announcement. Any mastermind members that are on, we're going to have an impromptu, mastermind, formerly masterclass style wedding immediately following Hump Day Hangouts. Give me a couple minutes to get set up, because I don't have it set up yet, but it'll be in the mastermind membership site at the, the live event page.
I thought you said wedding. I was like, what the hell?
No, it'll be on the live event page in the mastermind Vaughn site, the membership site. So it's going to be, I see a question in the chat box.
Yeah, I got it.
Get to that. It's only, it's kind of impromptu. We're just going to be talking about the various case studies that we're working on in the mastermind, and then answer Q&A, and it's just kind of a free forum for anybody. Like I said, we're going to continue doing those, and so I'll be on for about an hour, unless I hear crickets, in which case I'll close it up early. So if you guys want, just make sure that you come join us at the membership site on the live webinar page. All right, see you then. All right, let me get into, where's the screen share button? There it is. That on the page?
We can
see post on the page.
The comments already on the page?
No, I'll go ahead and do that for...
Yeah, if you don't mind. It'll make it easier. Okay, so I'm answering a question first from Fabian Pott, who was in our mastermind, and he posted a rather detailed question, and I answered it, but this one is common enough that I want to answer this part of it publicly on Hump Day Hangouts, because, again, this comes up often, and I can understand where there may be some confusion here, and so I want to kind of clarify this for everybody. So from Fabian, he says, blog properties like Tumblr, Blogger, and WordPress, do they count as Tier 1 network? Or are Tumblr, WordPress, and Blogger already Tier 2 networks, which aren't counted for the rest of the properties? So he's talking mainly about a branded Tier 1 network, and he's trying to wrap his head around really the way that we stack networks if we're going to do that. So, connecting multiple tiers. He says, I'm confused about this detail, and now I don't really understand which and when these properties are becoming Tier 2 or 1. Can you help me and give me some explanation why it's like this and why not, so that I get it? All right, so this is an image, guys. I'm going to see if I can expand on it. All right, so this is an image just explaining a very simple graphic showing what the tiered network structure looks like, okay? So this would be, Tier 1 here. And the way that this drawing shows here is that the Blogger, WordPress, and Tumblr are kind of pushed out of the Tier 1 circle or ring, but they're actually part of Tier 1. The only reason why it was drawn like this was specifically so that I could show detail on the outer rings, if that makes sense. So the Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress in a Tier 2 network are part of the Tier 1 ring, if that makes sense. Because again, just imagine, remember, and I've said this a bunch of times, but I understand how this can be confusing, guys. But you got to look at syndication networks each as an individual ring. That's it. That's all it is. Every single ring is an individual ring. When you start trying to visualize in your head, the way that the networks all connect and these multi-tiered systems and stuff like that, it can get complex very, very quickly. It can get confusing as well. But when you break everything down to single individual syndication rings and then assemble them together, because that's all you're doing, it becomes a much easier process to understand and to comprehend, if that makes sense. So the point is here is this is one individual ring. The only thing that we're doing is we're taking the Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress, because they're the three blog properties that we consistently use for the networks. And then we're going to build another ring with those properties as the triggers, right? So it's going to be, each one's going to get its own ring. So Blogger will get a whole nother syndication network, which would be a second tier network. right? Typically, that's going to be a persona-based network. Or in some cases, it could possibly be like an author network for perhaps a multi-author blog, for example, right? That that would make sense. But that's kind of more of an uncommon configuration. Whereas for our purposes, typically it's just going to be a persona-based blog network that is surrounded by or triggered by the blog property from the first tier network. Okay, does that make sense? So what happens is the blog RSS feed, the blogger RSS feed in this case, is the trigger point for the second tier network IFTTT account. So the inside of this account, this network out here, which would have its own blogger, its own WordPress, and its own Tumblr as well, right? So inside this account, when you go to set up the applets, or what formerly called recipes, you would choose RSS as the trigger. So if this, and then select RSS, then paste the RSS feed from the blogger account from tier 1 into that field, and then that, and select, and then start going through the properties within the network that you're creating applets for. So Bitly, the blogger account for that ring, WordPress, Tumblr, Digo, Delicious is apparently deprecated now, so that's not something that we can use anymore. But Buffer, all those other properties are going to be connected using Blogger as a trigger point. And then likewise for Tumblr and WordPress. So again, I can understand where that can be a little bit confusing, guys, because when you start to look at tiered structures, it's like, oh, where do I start and how does it all connect together? But if you remember that everything is, it's a linear process. It's a simple linear process in that IFTTT, it's logic, right? If this, then that. It's if this occurs, then that occurs. And you create the triggers and the actions. And again, it's only a step 1, step 2 type connection. There isn't a multi-step or threaded connection, if that makes sense. So everything is an individual ring, and it's only got a trigger point. And in the ring itself, or the syndication network itself, the whole thing is one action. It takes multiple applets for that to occur, but the one action is to just republish the trigger point content. That's it. So it becomes a much simpler concept when you break it down that way, if that makes sense. So anyways, hopefully that was helpful, Fabian. We also got another mastermind, like I said, webinar today for an hour following Hump Day Hangouts, and then I think our next mastermind webinar is next week. So we can go into more detail if needed. Let me know in the mastermind, by the way, or comment on this page and let me know if that was sufficient. Okay, Ethan's up. Hey, they're kind of a newbie question, but here it goes. When looking at your anchor text profile as a whole, does Google algorithm only factor in links on indexed pages or non-indexed pages as well? This question became very important for me after I realized that the majority of Web 2 links were not indexed. I built those primarily to balance out the anchor text. Also, switching gears, do you guys send traffic to all your PBNs, just some or none at all? How important is this moving forward? Thanks in advance. Okay, Ethan, it is my understanding that Google does still count the anchor text of even unindexed, because Google may know that those links are there without, or probably knows those links are there without indexing them. And the way that I can tell you that that's is true is because if you, and I know Google has limited what they'll show you now in Search Console as far as backlinks. When you download a sample backlink report, for example, I know they've started to limit that, but it used to be that they would give you a full report of what they knew was, of what Google had. At least we think that it was a full report of what they had as far as backlinks pointing to your site. And in there, you would see, it depends on how old the site was and how many posts you've done, but sometimes dozens or hundreds of links from like WordPress.com, for example, or Blogger. So it'd be Blogspot, Tumblr, Delicious, Digo, all of you'd see those. It wouldn't give you the individual URL a lot of times, but it would give you the root domain and then how many links. And I've got projects out there that I've never done anything other than IFTTT or syndication networks and content marketing. And Google would show, dozens, or even, like I said, depending on how old the site was, hundreds of links from the various network properties. But if you were to search info :operator for that individual URL for some of the posts, or even site : for that profile URL, you'd see that a lot of the posts weren't indexed, or the vast majority of them weren't. So Google, as far as I know, is still seeing it. If Marco or Hernan can comment on that.
Yeah, I was about to say, Bradley, that I have the exact same experience when it comes to non-indexed, not those websites that are actually blocking the bots, the bots, right? But those links that haven't been indexed yet, or they are not being indexed for some reason. I still have that experience that they still count as link juice,
yes,
right? Because again, with no index PBNs, like no index do follow PBNs, I still have had good results. Like those websites have moved the needle. So I have firsthand experience that no index websites, they still do their damage, right?
Yep. And so you have to consider the anchor text profile of those links as well. Because if Google's seeing them and you've seen movements from using them, then that means Google's recognizing they're there. And that goes for the Web 2s as well. And that's why I've said many times before not to worry so much about the Web 2 post URLs, the individual post URLs being indexed. Yes, it would be nice if we could index all of them, but I don't sweat it too much because, like I said, Search Console, and I've proven this year after year after year, and until Google started limiting the data, that those Web 2 post URLs are being seen by Google. They may not be in the index because they could be put in the supplemental index, for example.
Yeah.
But Google is seeing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So, okay. Also switching gears. Well, Roman, do you have any comment on that?
It's interesting. Because that kind of, it goes back to like the caching versus indexing thing, right? So if they've cached it, they've seen it, right? If it's indexed, that's a different story. But I'm trying to think of this in terms of like penalty recovery type of thing, or hurting yourself with those type of links. And from my experience, typically when I do any kind of site recovery or anchor text adjustments, I primarily look at just the the indexed ones,
right?
In my experience for recovering sites. But again, this is different purposes that may not be exactly what the context of this question is. I'm not sure. Well,
let's put it in this context. For example, let's say somebody had syndication network set up and and let's say they had a 2-tier syndication network set up and they spammed it to death. They spammed their own network with their own content, which we've seen people do. Mm-hmm. And they overload posts with anchor text links that go out across 2-tier networks that, again, we recommend against that for that reason. And so they overdo it. Well, here's the thing. If they hammered away on a single keyword and it tripped a penalty or triggered a penalty, even an algorithmic penalty, but their Web 2 post URLs that triggered it that aren't showing in the index, how would you know? You know what I mean? Like if you're doing a traditional recovery or, like you say, anchor text adjustment, and you're using traditional like Majestic or Ahrefs, and those links aren't appearing in those indexes, then how do you know that you've done all that damage from your existing posts that aren't being indexed? You know what I mean?
Yeah, good point.
So that's my point. I always considered links, especially on the Web 2s, that don't show in the index. I've always considered those anchor texts as still relevant, and that's why I always try to balance it out. So my point, Ethan, is just no matter what you're doing when you're building backlinks, always take into consideration your anchor text profile, whether you think it's going to be indexed or seen or not. You should consider it, because if it does get seen and counted, you don't want it to cause problems. All right, next, also switching gears, you guys send traffic to all your PBNs, just some or none at all. Well, I'm not using PBNs so much anymore. I am sending traffic, spoofed traffic, CT spam stuff through social properties, citations, maps, URLs, press releases. I send fake traffic through everything. I'm hoping to get a actual case study or test and experiment set up within the next week or two. I mentioned it on the previous mastermind webinar. Clint Butler, in fact, one of our mastermind members, had the idea to start doing some CT spam tool tests where we test different, because there's several of them. We've always promoted crowd search just because it's the one that I've used ever since I stopped setting those like micro task gigs up myself, which was time consuming. It was very, very effective, but it was time consuming. Crowdsource kind of automated all that stuff, and I've been using it ever since. However, there are other options out there that do that kind of stuff. And so we're going to test. I'm going to test it. It's been difficult. I've got a ton of projects on my plate right now to get it set up, but I do have a project already in mind that I'm going to set up a test for, where I'm going to create various pages. There'll be basically subcategories of an overall category. So sub niches of a particular site that I'm working on that is mainly just AdWords traffic. It's a lead gen property. So I wasn't planning on doing any SEO work. And so what I'm probably going to do is add a few different pages to that site targeting the sub niches that I, typically would have only targeted with AdWords, but I'll probably target those, create some pages with some decent content, and then just do strictly CT spam tests, like no backlinks at all, guys. I want to see first of all, where the page indexes just naturally, and then I'm just going to start sending CT spam traffic to those pages. And guys, anybody that doesn't know what CT spam is, it's click through spam, right? So that's going to Google, searching for a keyword or a brand term or any sort of search phrase, finding the link in the search results that you like, and then clicking, that you want, or your link, whatever, the one you're trying to promote. And then you click it and then browse around the web, that page for a few minutes or whatever. And that's click through spam, right? And so again, there's a bunch of tools out there that do that, but we don't know which one's the best. I don't know which one's the best. I've only been using the one. So I'd like to test that. And that's something that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks in the mastermind. So if you guys are interested in that, it'd be a good time to join. So, but just to answer your question, Ethan, yeah, I'm sending spoof traffic right now through crowd search to everything. Absolutely everything. Except, like I said, I don't send it directly to the money site much. And for that, I'll do like brand or navigation searches, which is searching for the company name. So the brand name, you can also do brand name plus like service. So that's a chance for brand name plus keyword that will start to build that association, the keyword with that brand, which will help. And I'll do just very, very few, very conservative type of search metrics or numbers on brand searches directly to the money site. But pretty much all the other spam traffic that I send is going to be through citations or social media properties or PBNs, like you said, or perhaps press releases, somewhere where I can refer traffic to the money site through a branded property, if that makes sense. Okay. So that's really powerful, guys. I'm doing more and more testing with this stuff, and I'm starting to see more and more results with SEO ranking results without backlinks. It's insane. Starting to do more testing with strictly engagement signals, and I'm seeing incredible results with that. And I say no backlinks, but I'm doing some stuff with press releases right now that is starting to show a lot of promise. And there's backlinks with press releases, but it's pretty interesting to see, like, how stuff is really starting to shift as far as how the algorithm works. Links are still important, but I'm saying I've seen stuff now that can rank on engagement alone, which is insane. So, and you guys got any comments on that?
Yeah, I wish I could talk more about it, but you're absolutely right, Bradley. Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, agree.
And we need to zip it, keep it shut for now. Yeah, I mean, like I said, talk on a conceptual level, guys. A lot of the stuff you want to get into the nitty gritty details, you got to join the mastermind. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. I can't share all of our secrets in the public forum. Columbia's up, she says, and she's been crushing it. Columbia's been really. Columbia, I just want to say, I appreciate you coming on the webinars all the time, asking these great questions. I can see you're really trying. And I think with the amount of action that you're taking, you're going to do just fine. Okay, so just keep coming and asking questions. We're glad that happy to help. So she says, when you sell a video ranking service and you give them 3 keywords for the first month, do you give them new additional keywords the second month and following months, or are you just supporting the original three keywords for all the months that follow? Columbia, they pay me for the initial keywords, and that's it. And then they pay me monthly to support those 3 keywords or whatever the number is. If they want more keywords, that's fine, but they're going to pay me for a setup fee for each new video. And then they're going to also pay me an additional fee for every keyword per month. Like I said, I do package deals all the time. My bottom line fee for doing wholesale SEO services for video production companies, $100 a month per video. And that doesn't, again, I tell the way that I work this out is that I tell the video production company, they approach their customer, their clients, right? And when they go to sell them on the Google Boost program or the SEO program, whatever they want to call it, they'll pitch it to them and tell them, okay, give me, like what your 3 top keywords or the 3 top search terms that your customers would search to look for your business. And then they submit those to me with the work order. And now what I do is I set up a poke test, right? And I'll do keyword research very briefly, but this is in part why I'm trying to get away from doing anything other than just like working in specific verticals, because it does require research, like keyword research and such, for every new project. And to me, that's just a lot of additional work that's unnecessary. But I'll do keyword research, figure out which keywords, and I'll just build a list. It might be 15 or 20 keywords of their primary desired keywords, plus longer tail versions of those, plus the locations surrounding their target area as well. And I'll build a list out of that. And like I said, it could be 15, 20, 25 keywords. And I'll run a spam test, a poking test first, to identify which out of those 15 or 20 whatever keywords are easier to rank on test channels, right? And then from there, I'll send back a list of the keywords that I can say, okay, here's what I think our best opportunities are for ranking. And then the video production company sends it to the customer and says, here's what we can do. Just you select. And that's where if none of their primary keywords that they originally posted or suggested are in that list to show, okay, here's what we can do for you, then I'll often do a deal where I'll say, okay, let's just assume they're only wanting one video. They gave me 3 keywords, but they're only wanting one video. Then what I'll say, the proposal will be, okay, since your primary or one of your 3 primary desired keywords isn't in the list, but we can do all of these other options for you, what we'll do is we'll do 2 videos for you for the price of 1. And I'll do that. And I don't mind doing that because I already know I can rank the video with a test channel that has no syndication network, no authority, nothing. It's an invalidated entity, an orphaned account. And I ranked for that keyword. Well, then I know if I go take that same video or the video that is now provided to me by the video production company and I go push it through my network that's set up for this stuff, I know I'm going to be able to rank and it'll stick. So I don't care if I do 2 videos for the price of 1 then, because I already have identified that it's not going to require any work. All I got to do is upload it to my channel. Boom, I'm done. And for months and sometimes years, I'll collect $100 a month for those 2 videos without having to do any additional work. Does that make sense? So if somebody wants additional keywords, it's fine, but that's another setup fee, and I charge $100 per video for setup fee. It's a one-time fee. And then, for example, it's funny, but I was sending out client reports for my the video production company that I do the most work for. Today, I was sending reports out to them, and he replied back and asked, one of the clients had failed to pay him about 2 or 3 months ago, so I had to pause the campaign. And so I basically unlisted the video, right? You don't delete it. You unlist it so that it falls out of the index. And he contacted me and say, oh, yeah, that company, blah, 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 they restarted their billing. I've got payment, so go ahead and restart that campaign. And I had to email him back, say, I'd be happy to restart the campaign, but I'm going to send you a bill for setup fee because the campaign's been paused for 2 or 3 months. So now I've got to set it back up. So I've got to start over again. Really, all I got to do is go in and turn it from unlisted to public. But then it's probably going to require a little bit of massaging to get back up to in the rank results, the search results. So I charge them another $100 for it. You know what I mean? For that. And so that's something that, like, for example, any additional keyword, you should charge them the fee for actually the setup, which is what I call it, setup fee. But that's just to prepare the video and push it through your network. And then charge them on a monthly basis for any additional keywords. But don't be afraid to do package deals. It makes sense, right? Add value where you can. All right. Okay, how do you describe the client type of ongoing support work you will be doing for them so that they see the need to pay you for the following months? Well, in part, Columbia, that's why you push everything through your own channels, because the moment they stop paying you, you can change it from public to unlisted, and it disappears out of the index. That's why they need to keep paying you, because if they don't pay you, you turn the shit off. And I say that because that's what keeps you in control. You know what I mean? If you rank the video on a client channel, then they could say, okay, you know what, we decide we don't need you anymore, and they'd stop paying you. And there is a chance that video will still rank for months and even years to come. I've seen it happen, guys. I've got videos that I'm collecting paychecks from that I haven't had to touch in 6 months, 12 months at a time. Every now and then I have to go in and do a link campaign or engagement or send it through SerpSpace Video Powerhouse or something like that. I just did a few of them today, actually. Yeah. But it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. I was going to say something else that she can do is, go ahead and have your process or as much of it you want to share with the client listed out. So in case they want to say, well, what exactly are you doing? Say, I'm monitoring it. Either you're paying for a rank tracking service or you're doing it. You're adding what's needed to make sure that the ranking stays the same. But then don't lead with that. I would lead with the benefits to the client. It's not what are you doing, it's what are you providing. And hey, I'm providing you a service. I'm ranking videos, I'm getting you visitors, I'm getting you traffic, and you don't have to do anything except cut me the check. And then I'm making that happen every month, and you don't have to think about it. You don't have to hire another person. That's the benefit. And then if they want to say, well, what are you actually doing? Then say, okay, here's my process. I'm doing these things, and it's happening without you having to tell me.
But Adam's exactly right. Lead with the benefits to them, not the features of what you're doing. Because people buy benefits, not features. Now, some people are going to be curious, and it's great if you lead with the benefits and people start asking questions about the features. It means they're close to making a buying decision. Right? I mean, for real, that's because they're curious as to, okay, now they know what they're buying. Now they want to know how it's going to happen, and try not to make it overcomplicated or technical because you'll confuse people. You can, if the ones that are inquisitive about it, that might have a little bit of understanding, you can say, look, I'm going to be building backlinks. I also have to maintain the broadcasting networks that the video is embedded on. Have to constantly drive, social signals, backlinks, and traffic into them. That's what will help to keep the video ranked and provide you traffic and leads, blah, blah, blah. Remember, always come back to the benefits. It's like what Adam was saying. So what kinds of work and how much are actually needed to these follow-up months, and how do you charge on a regular client, not wholesale, for one video setup fee and monthly support? That depends, Columbia. Typically, video service, video clients that aren't through a production company, then video SEO services are usually, for me, just a foot-in-the-door strategy. So I usually don't charge very much for it. Usually on an individual basis, like when I'm working directly with a business instead of through production company or wholesale. When I'm selling retail, let's put it that way, then I'll usually do a 2 or 3 video package, and it might be something like $150 or $200 a month for the 2 or 3 different keywords that we're targeting. But that, again, is usually just a foot in the door strategy. Once I've produced results for them, which is rather quickly with the YouTube videos, then I usually will upsell them on, doing full SEO suite of services or PPC or whatever. Okay. Content marketing, syndication networks, all that kind of stuff. As far as what kind of maintenance, it doesn't take much. Some takes more than others, there's no doubt. But, we've got Video Powerhouse that works really, really well. I've been using Crowd Search for traffic. That works well. Some videos that take that just won't budge with traditional SEO stuff, I'll set up a YouTube ad for. And I'll send $1 a day worth of traffic. I'm getting $100 for the video a month. If I set up a YouTube ad that drives local IP traffic to the video, it does a couple things. It helps it to rank. It will also show traffic signals on the video that I'm paying Google for, so that looks good to the client or the customer, right? They're seeing traffic on their video, and it helps it to rank because of the local IP traffic I can set up via AdWords. And it's $1 a day. You know what I mean? So like I might spend $30 a month, but I'm making 70, and it's pretty much on autopilot. All right, Alexander's up. Says better using my PBN links directly to money site, or using my syndication tier 1 as a buffer. That way I can also link from the same post to 2 to 3 properties, and it all converts in power to money site and maybe to RYS properties. I'm not really sold to it yet, maybe because I never tried it. Yeah, you need to try it first, Alexander. I recommend doing most of your PBN links to your network properties or to tier 1 properties, period, and not directly to your money site. Some people might have a differing opinion, but I really stopped doing a lot of that quite some time ago. What do you guys think?
It depends for me as far as the money site goes. I still definitely use PBNs on my money site, but there are very particular things that I look for.
Yep. When
I do that, and they're not just quickly made.
Yeah, I was going to say and I'm going to preface this with I'm not doing this right now, but I mean, that's a pretty broad question. So I think Roman Answers applies that it depends. And so it's not that you can't do this, but it totally depends on what kind of a site you're linking back to and from.
Yeah. Yeah, I prefer to link to tier 1 properties, guys. I just always try to be very, very careful about what, and like Roman says, it really depends. If I got some uber powerful domain, if it's uber powerful, it doesn't even need to really be topically relevant, and you can see a good push from a link. But if it's not super powerful with high metrics or whatever, then I'm looking more for topical relevancy, and it just depends. It depends. But yeah, I mean, if you're in doubt, don't link. If you're in doubt about the actual value of the link from the PBN that you're going to build the link on to your money site, then if you're in doubt at all, trust your gut and push it to a tier 1 property instead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I would say that You can that's the way. Well, if you control the PBN, that's fine. You can change and switch and swap the links. But if you don't, like, and this applies to any kind of link that you're doing out there, excuse me. This is the power of detachable link juice or Switchbox. You know, Switchbox is
right.
SEO 301s. I've usually have had good results with linking from a PBN to an internal WordPress site. Let's say that you want to rank an internal website, you will link from an article, and then it will get syndicated out, and then you point PBN links to the internal page of that WordPress or that Blogger or that Tumblr website, right? So that's how I do it, and I have had good results. But I agree with Bradley. If in doubt, don't do it. That's what the whole syndication network is about. And you can always still use 301s to control the link juice and see and point it to different places and see what the effects are.
Yep, totally agree. So next part says, and for test and speed, what is the best order to target property building? Video, AdWords, maps, organic. All right, this is 100% going to be, this is independent of everybody's going to have their own independent opinion on this. Me personally, from now on, if I already know that AdWords is going to be mixed in to my marketing campaign for that project, I'm going to lead with AdWords, guys, 100% of the time now, because I can quickly identify where the traffic is and which keywords are producing the most traffic and the best conversions. And then that's what I'll focus on my SEO campaigns. So if I know, I won't start any new project purely on SEO unless it's for experimentation purposes, for like case studies and stuff like that. But for any kind of client or lead gen project that I start now, period, any project at all, other than for experimenting purposes, I always lead with AdWords, because now I can identify where the traffic is, what's converting, before I spend even a moment of time on any SEO work. Because SEO work, in my opinion, has become way too complex for it to be the leading or the only method. Because the problem is, you can think you know, unless you know a market very, very well. For example, I know the tree service market very well. So if I wanted to start a project purely based on SEO, I could, because I know those keywords. I know where the traffic is. I've been doing it for years. But the point is I still don't know exactly what the search behavior of the new location that I'd be starting a new site in is. AdWords can show me what the search behavior is a lot quicker than SEO, because I can turn an AdWords lead gen funnel on and a campaign on, and within 24 to 48 hours, I got traffic rolling in. So within 30 days, I can have enough data to be able to determine what to focus my energy on for SEO purposes, because it might take me 3 or 6 months for me to get any results from SEO. So I want to be damn sure that I'm working on the keywords that are going to produce me the best results. And the 80-20 principle absolutely applies here, guys. 20 or 80% of your traffic and leads are going to come from 20% of your keywords. And in fact, in some markets, you'll see it's more like 90-10 or 95-5. And that's the absolute truth, because I see it in all the different AdWords funnels now that I've got up. I mean, both affiliate and local, the same thing applies. You'll see that the vast majority of your traffic comes from just a very, very small subset of your keywords. And so that's what I'd want to focus on for SEO to begin with, which would require, remember guys, a lot of times those are going to be your broader keywords. They're going to be, at least for AdWords, I always try to go very bullseye, like targeted, specific on buyer intent keywords anyways, because I'm not building out these big elaborate funnels to pull people down the sales pipeline for local lead gen. To me, it's possible, but it's a lot of work. So I just target after the really focused buyer intent keywords anyways. Those are going to be difficult to rank for in SEO. But my point is, first you identify what those keywords are, and AdWords can help you to do that. But then from there, you can start to develop an SEO timeline or a plan, and a plan for optimizing for those keywords that produce the most traffic. And often that's going to require silo structure, categories and subcategories, supporting posts, all that kind of stuff. And so again, I don't like, in days past, in previous days, I would always start off with SEO, and I would design these sites and then start building the content and the pages and the internal linking structure and the syndication networks and the content marketing and all the stuff that goes in the rank before I really knew where the hell the traffic was. And so again, my point is, guys, if you're going to have AdWords in the mix at all at any point, I would lead with that. And again, it's going to be personal to everybody. I know the guys on the call with me here probably have different opinion, but I would start with AdWords and Maps initially, especially for local guys. And then from there, after I had those two set up, which would already be generating traffic because AdWords can generate traffic overnight, then I would set up some video campaigns, both SEO and AdWords stuff. I'm going to be testing some local video ads over the next few weeks. We got a project, a case study in progress right now in the mastermind, and that's going to be applied to that as well. And then I would focus last on organic. What do you guys think?
I think you cover that really well.
Awesome.
AdWords, I mean, that's data. You're making decisions based on data that you're collecting, and there's nothing more powerful than that.
Correct. Okay.
Yep. I agree with Roman on this one, and with you as well. Because usually, when you're doing SEO for your own websites, and when you're doing SEO for clients as well, or even a project that you are selling leads or you want to send traffic, the best way to start is PPC always, because it'll speed things up so that when SEO kicks in, you already have data, as Roman was saying, in order to know what's converting and what's not. So that's the way I usually roll. Right. But I don't disregard, here's the thing, I don't disregard one thing for the other, right? The main point here is to not depend on one source of traffic, but rather have a true business, which is having several sources of traffic and several sources of leads. That's why we use SEO, but we also use PPC to, speed things up, but also to not depend on one source of traffic alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the other problem with you just got to remember, like, I don't like relying 100% on just SEO traffic anymore either. So that's why AdWords, I think, is so important, because I feel like, and I know those are both just Google traffic. I get that. And there's traffic to be had in other locations. Sure. But I'm saying specifically from Google, because I just don't trust the fact that anything is going to last as far as rankings go. So, being proficient in AdWords is a skill that I think is almost a prerequisite now for any sort of marketing consultant. Even if you're not, really skilled at it, as long as you know the importance of it and you have somebody that you can go to kind of help you with that stuff, or even outsource that part of it, I think it's important to have that data. So, all right, we got to keep rolling. Ven is up. He says, "Hi, Bradley. I'm currently producing a video for my SEO agency where I explain 5 tips to hire a great SEO to a business owner. I want to do it like how you did for Syndication Academy, where I stand in front of the camera and talk to the business owner. I want to ask, how do you speak so smoothly in front of the camera? Did you actually have a script, or do you just speak out of the thought in your mind?" No, I have a script, Ben. I have a teleprompter, and you can get a teleprompter cheaply. Some of them are really stupid expensive, but you can get a very inexpensive teleprompter on Amazon that is just basically like this little setup that goes on top of a tripod, and you use a tablet, an iPad or an Android or whatever, with an app. It's called Teleprompter Pro. That's the app I use. There's probably a million apps that do the same thing, but the one that I use is called Teleprompter Pro. It's an app, and I use an Android tablet. But all I do is put the Android tablet on the thing, and there's a part of the app will reverse the text from the script that you add to it, and the script can be uploaded to the app or imported into the app via a text file. And then all it does is it does a mirror image of the text, and then it scrolls. And I bought a little Bluetooth clicker. What do you call them? The little like remotes for changing PowerPoint presentations and such. Dongles, or I don't know what the hell they call them. Anyways, I bought one of those little Bluetooth things that I'll use, that I can control the speed or pause or restart the teleprompter. But yeah, I absolutely script that out. You have to, man. I mean, like, if you're doing something off the top of your head, that's great. But for like sales videos and stuff like that, you pretty much have to script that stuff out. And it just takes practice as far as speak so smoothly. Trust me, some of those sales videos, guys, takes me 3 hours to record. I mean, it takes me longer to write the script than it does to do the videos. But as far as like sometimes on an off recording day when you're trying to record a video, like you can't get through more than 2 or 3 sentences without a stutter or a stammer. And then you got to start over unless you have really good editing skills or a really good editor. And in my case, I try to get everything done in one take. so that there's minimum amount of edits at all. And sometimes it'll take me 2 or 3 hours, like 20, 30 takes to get through an entire script, especially a sales video script, which is like, sometimes 6, 8, 10 minutes long. And it's difficult to do all that in one take. So yeah, it's kind of a process, but you just get better, just like anything else, guys. If you practice it enough, you get better at it. That's all.
Yeah.
If any of you guys remember the first sales videos we did, first of all, when I was 280 pounds, and
yeah,
and they were so bad compared to what they are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, definitely, and yeah, I mean, every video that we make or that you make or whoever, it doesn't it's never as polished as it looks like. That's the end, that's the end product, right? But there's a lot of stuff going on behind that, and you see all of these. You see all of these guys appearing really comfortable on camera, whatnot, but there's a bunch of editing. Like, for example, I recorded some videos myself. I will listen to Mike Dillard, and the guy is a machine when it comes to selling, but he would tell you, yeah, it would take me, a week or something to record a 2-hour webinar. You know what I mean? Because of that thing that it needs to be perfect, and it needs to be edited in a way that there's no mistakes whatsoever. So there's a lot of work involved. Now, if you think about that a VSL or a video or a webinar can bring, hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales, it's totally worth it. So It's worth the time,
Yep. And again, the hardest part for me really is the writing of the scripts, because I still write all of our sales scripts 100% on my own. And I'm not a copywriter, so it takes me sometimes 2 days to write a damn script. I'm not kidding, 2 full days, and it's painful for me. It's because it's very, very time consuming. But I always feel like they come across better that way than trying to read off of like somebody else's script. So, anyways, Don says, I'm not a member of RYS Academy, but I'm waiting for the next program to drop. Having said that, I've been playing around with Google Drive properties, but following all the pieces I've picked up here and there, I cannot get any of the Drive files to index, not rank, but simply to index. I've tried Drive files on 2 separate Drive accounts and submitted all the links to SerpSpace Indexer. I know without seeing a link, it's hard to diagnose, but I have gone through the triple checked everything is public, but they don't index. I also created a new Google site over a month ago, and it still has an index despite being set to allow search. Having said that, I create a classic Google site and indexed almost immediately. As soon as I get my next GMB location verified, I will order a Drive stack, but I can't figure out why the files aren't indexing. Is there a way to test all of the public index my shit settings are correct? Thanks, guys. Yeah, I mean, look, the only thing that you have to do is if you set the file to public and indexable on the web, and that's in Drive, it should be indexable. It doesn't mean that it's going to index. I've had issues with Drive files indexing, and what I found is just to leave them alone or to build links to them. That's so what I mean is I've had a lot of Drive stuff. For example, the one that we use all the time as an example from my first test with it that's still ranking, the Virginia SEO one, that took like 6 weeks before it ever indexed. But then when it did, boom, it stuck, and it's been there ever since, and which is freaking insane. And again, I didn't do anything to it, guys, but an initial at the time, which was in May of 2015, so that's been over 2 years now, I did a PBN link run to one of my really shitty PBNs. Like, no kidding. It was a PBN that I wouldn't use to link to any sort of money site or even tier 1 property anymore. It was specifically used for video broadcasting, and that's it. Only because it was a poorly built PBN from like 2011 or 12 that I had built. And so I ran that site through there. Like I did, a PBN post run for that. And I think I had like 13 backlinks from a poor PBN. And about 6 weeks later, it indexed, and it's been ranked #1 ever since. And I've never done anything to that site since, guys. And that's the truth, which is amazing. So anyways, as far as Don, I've seen that. I've seen that those files don't index all the time, or at least right away. And just give it time. What you can do is build links to those files. That should help with the index, but just be patient. Okay.
If I can just add, what he's missing is...
What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man? What he's missing is the interlinking, the RYS shit. That's what he's missing. Yep. The everything, all of the relevancy that we create, everything that RYS Academy is all about. And since he mentioned the next program to drop, there won't be one, guys. It's just we've talked about it, and we might as well make it public. I'm not going to make follow-up training. We might make an update for RYS Academy, and if we update it, it is going to cost a whole lot more. But as far as all of the stuff that I've been working on and whatever, I'm way behind because of my surgery. And we've talked about it, and it just makes absolutely no sense for us to go and give people training where they're going to take it and create a competing product. Now, if we do release anything, it'll be with a
as a service,
non-disclosure. Yeah, but not only a service, but it'll be non-disclosure and non-compete agreements signed and enforceable, so that I can chase you down in court anywhere in the world.
Yeah, well, that's what we're saying is provided as a service, a done for you service, and if people want to learn how to do it themselves, that's fine. But they're gonna pay a premium for it, and they're gonna sign non-disclosure, non-compete, and all of that. So and a licensing agreement.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be just totally. It's not what people are expecting. We're not going to give you a step-by-step process on how to build a competing product. Yeah. I'm not going to do that. Sorry, that's over. So if you're waiting for that, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, and that's one of the things we're going to be doing a lot of is continuing to build out our done for you services, guys, because that's what we've surveyed our audience many times, and that's what people say they want. That they like. So a lot of people like the training just so they can figure out how it works, but they don't want to do the work, and so they say, "Can you do it for us?" Well, so we realize that that's where the demand is. So we're building out more and more done for you services. We're still going to produce info products and training products on certain things. There's no doubt. But the really nitty gritty, like really technical stuff is going to be strictly for the mastermind members, guys, going forward. Like there won't be another RYS Academy style release from us. Unless, of course, it's like I said, under premium and licensing agreements and all that kind of stuff. But there's still lots to come from us, lots of done for you services. And I've got several training programs in progress right now that I'm putting together that we're going to be releasing under the Semantic Mastery or the Mastery PR brand, one or the other. So again, there's more and more coming, but it's just like all the really big, like groundbreaking stuff, like what RYS was. There's a reason why we're not going to be releasing that kind of stuff. We'll be releasing done for you services instead. And some people go ahead.
We have something that's huge. We have something that what we're working on is a frigate. It's turned into a monster. And what we're trying to do now is decide how to put all the pieces together so that we can offer the tool, or what you said, the way that you mentioned it, the training. But that's going to be a premium if I'm going to train you on something like that, or if we are, because you guys are all going to be part of this, of course, Semantic Mastery. The thing is that we just want to protect ourselves, guys. We didn't last time. A lot of people took advantage of it. It's never going to happen again.
Yep. Okay, Greg, I'm going to answer these next two guys, and I got to wrap it up because we got the Mastermind / Masterclass webinar in a moment. My Established Blogs has a branded network, and the YouTube channel has its own 2-tier. Okay. I will be adding some of the videos to some of the already established individual pages on my blog. However, when I post a video to the YouTube channel, if I also want to syndicate it out to my branded network as well, do I create a separate post for that video and set it to no index? My website is siloed well in ranks, and I do not want to mess that part up. No, thanks. No, why don't you just connect your YouTube channel to the branded network and just syndicate directly to the branded network instead of embedding it on your site first, right? My point is, if you've already got established posts or pages on your site, you're going to go in and just add a video to those pages. Those aren't going to re-syndicate unless you make them, which you can do with Republish Old Posts. It's a WordPress plugin. That's the one that I've used a lot. They have a free and a premium version. It's called Republish Old Posts. You can use something like that to actually reinsert those posts back into the feed so that they'll syndicate out. But it's not necessary to do that. If you're going to want to publish or syndicate videos from your money channel to the branded network, which is essentially only connected right now to your for syndication to your money site, then just connect your YouTube channel to your branded network, set up a whole nother series of applets using YouTube as the trigger. And when you upload the video, it's going to automatically syndicate to your branded network. It doesn't have to go through your blog, right? So that's what I would do. That way you can do whatever you want on the pages on your blog by embedding, posts or videos or whatever into those. But that's not going to re-trigger syndication unless you force it to using like a plugin like that. But the videos that you upload to your video or YouTube channel would get syndicated to your branded network via the YouTube trigger applet. All right, last question. Hi, Bradley. I have a question about citation and GMB. As you know, Google is preventing user PO box for local business. Yeah, Google prevents using PO boxes, but you can use the street address option within post offices. I just set 2 of them up about 2 weeks ago. Another 2. No kidding. And I had a client, a client for the case study I'm doing in the mastermind. I set up an AdWords funnel for him, a lead gen funnel, and I had him. Well, I think his is actually a real address, though. I think it's a real address. But anyways, my point is it absolutely still works. Guys, I'm going to drop this link. We got to wrap up, but I'm going to drop something here. Give me a moment. This is the exact form that you fill out in the post office. You can print it out from your computer, and here, I'll zoom in on it a little bit. You can print this off from your computer and fill it out and take it to the post office. All you do is go rent a post office box, period, and then hand them this form. And look, it doesn't cost anything. All you do is fill it out. In whatever their PO box, let's say it's the post office street address is 123 Main Street, and you get box number 101. So by filling out this sheet and submitting it when you make the payment and you have to go into the post office to sign for it anyways, for when you rent your PO box. When you go rent your PO box, you hand them this form, or you can ask them for it and they'll produce it for you, and you fill it out and then hand them the form. And it says post office street address. So 123 Main Street. Then you use the number sign, and they'll tell you very specifically that you're supposed to use the number sign, not suite, not box, not nothing. You're supposed to use the number sign, the pound sign, and say 123 Main Street, number sign, box number. And that absolutely still works. Where it has been creating problems right now is when people try to register multiple PO boxes under the same GMB account too quickly. That's where it's flagging. But if you set up each listing under a separate GMB profile, then I haven't had any issues with it at all. Okay. So anyways, let me drop this link, and then we've got to wrap it, guys. I got to go. I know there might have been a second part to that question, so let me jump back and finish that real quick, guys. And we'll wrap it up. Is Bill Cousins here? I'll be damned, he is. Bill, you need to reach out to me before the webinar, buddy, so we can get you on. All right, cool. My problem now is because I can't get PO Box verified suspended from Google. Yeah, well, start over. I mean, what I would do is I would go fill out that form, go submit it, and then start over under a new Google My Business profile. So set up a new Google account, create the Google My Business profile under there, and then use the street address results or option, and it should work. Okay, clean your IP if you need to. Use a proxy if you have to. So if I'm going to use a local home address, hide it in GMB, then use the original PO box address for the citation. No, don't do that either. If you're whatever the address is that you have registered with Google, that has to be the address you use in your citations. If you switch it up, you're never going to get any results. Okay, Hank? So yeah, try that, buddy. Try this one here, and I'm telling you, it should work. I would clear your browsing history and all that first. Use a clean browser like Firefox that you run through the process of clearing. All right, guys, we got to wrap it up. Thanks for everybody being here. Roman, thanks for showing up today, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
See y'all
Bye,
next
everyone.
see y'all next week.
Take it easy.